friends, it's Quenby, the Grateful Queen, here on YouTube. Welcome back for another video. I'm just so happy to see you. And this is a video that many friends on the channel have requested. This is a video all about selling on Thredup. Ta-da! So I plan in this video to just get into the nitty-gritty of my personal experience of selling on Thredup. I just want to share the truth of selling on Thredup, the pros, the cons, kind of the good, bad, and the ugly of being a reseller selling on Thredup. I even have notes, friends, so watch out. Get your coffee, get your tea, giddy up, buckle up, whatever you gotta do, because I'm gonna talk you through everything that I have learned in my time of selling on Thredup. If you're new to the channel, though, I'm Quenby and I'm a part-time reseller. For 10 years, I've been selling on eBay. I've been on Poshmark a few years. I sell digital products on Etsy. And in the past couple of months, I've been selling on Thredup. So I'm gonna start by telling you, friends, how I'm using Thredup. The way that I found to make selling on Thredup in 2021, 2022 work for me personally. And this is all going to be very subjective, friends. Whether Thredup selling works for you, you have to decide for yourself based on your business and how you can source inventory. So I'm going to share my experience, and then hopefully you can glean something from that and decide whether you think it's right for you. I've gotten a lot of questions, so I'm going to answer the questions that you've given me. I'm going to talk about how I personally use it. I'm going to share sort of what I think is the great thing about selling on Thredup and what is really the hard, bad, icky stuff that you kind of just have to get used to if you want to sell on Thredup. And so I'm just going to get into it. Okay, friends, let's just do it. So I started on selling on Thredup back in September 2021. I'm filming this mid-November 2021, so it's just over a couple of months. So take it for what it is. I consider myself a very new reseller on Thredup, but I've been keeping a lot of data and tracking so that I could share everything with you. So let me just give you a little bit of my stats to get us started. So I have sent them 15 kits. A kit is basically the box that you pack up and send to Thredup. Now, if you're really new and you know nothing about this and you're interested in sending a kit or a box to Thredup, I have another video that I'll link somewhere, which is basically me packing up my first box. So if you want to know how to get a label and just like the basics, that's another video. The how to send a box to Thredup video might be good for you if you're new. So I have, to this date, which is November 15th, 2021, I've sent them 15 boxes. I'm trying to send like one a week. Of those 15 boxes, they've processed 10 boxes. And my total of what I have made on Thredup is $1,475.10. This is how I have chosen to use Thredup selling for me in my particular situation. I am sending things to Thredup that I do not want to take the time myself to list on eBay or Poshmark. As you all know, the listing, the photographing, listing, and doing all that stuff, the sharing, the shipping takes a lot of time. And so things that I've now decided are not that worth it to me to list myself right now are going to Thredup. So what does that include? For me personally, that includes, kind of mall brands like Loft, Ann Taylor, Gap, Calvin Klein, those kind of brands, White House Black Market, things that I could probably only sell and make like 10, 15 bucks on myself, I'm now sending to Thredup. Really small sizes, like a size 2 or an extra small petite, in kind of basic brands. They don't sell that great for me, so why not send it to Thredup? That's what I'm doing. The other thing I'll add to that is I have learned that there are certain brands that sell just as well on Thredup than if I sell them myself, or even better. There are a few brands. I'll give you an example. Eileen Fisher. 10 years ago when I started selling, Eileen Fisher I could get 50, 60 bucks for. That hasn't been true for me for a while. Large size Eileen Fisher I might be able to get a little bit more for, or certain pieces like size XL black tunic sweater, I might still be able to get like 50 bucks. But I think the range for me really is more like around the $30 mark for Eileen Fisher these days. If I send Eileen Fisher to Thredup, and I'll show you some what solds, I'm getting a payout of $40, $50, $60. So it makes more sense for me to send Eileen Fisher to Thredup. So I'm sending small sizes, I'm sending kind of stuff I don't want to list myself, mall brand basics, and certain brands like Eileen Fisher, there's a bunch of them that do just as well or better on Thredup. So I've talked a little bit about kind of what I'm sending in general. I want to talk about why that works for me personally. So I get most of my inventory these days from reseller mystery boxes. I shop a lot on Jomar Wholesale. I shop a lot on Thredup. I've bought Poshmark mystery boxes when people are going out of business or something, really good sales like that. I used to thrift a lot. But I don't get to do that as much anymore. I'm a part-time reseller. I have a psychotherapy practice, another business. I've got a 10-year-old son, busy girl like you. So the majority of my inventory is coming from mystery boxes. In mystery boxes, I sometimes get bolo, awesome, amazing items, but I get a lot of filler in there too. You can watch any of my Thredup unboxings, for example, and see that I get a lot of like basic items. So I have a lot of that stuff, and I've kind of realized at this particular time, it's not worth my time really listing something like that I can only get like 10 bucks for. I'd rather send it to Thredup, maybe get 2 or 3 bucks and not do any of the work. So that's why it kind of works. So you might want to ask yourself, hey, am I someone who has access to inexpensive inventory from people donating stuff to me, from like family and friends giving me stuff, or do I shop at the Goodwill outlet bins and I only pay by the pound like 2 bucks so I can get a dress or a shirt or a sweater for like $1? If you can get really cheap inventory, you're still gonna make a profit on Thredup. If you have a huge death pile, send that stuff to Thredup. I'll get into like kind of the payouts and stuff like that a little bit later in the video, but that's something to consider. If you live somewhere where it's just cheap at your thrift stores and you can get stuff for $1 or $2, Thredup might really work for you as well. Because remember, the payouts on Thredup most of the time are going to be less than you would make yourself. Why? Because Thredup does all the work for you. You put it in a box and send it, they do everything. So you're gonna get much lower payouts. Friends, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on the little bell next to the subscribe. Then you get a notification if I go live or a new video comes out. Thank you. I do want to take a minute and give credit where credit is due and say that I learned most of what I've learned so far from Rebecca the reseller. I was promoting her Thredup club, but the Thredup club is ending at the end of the year. But I did learn a lot of this in there, and then I've learned a bunch of things, of course, trial and error myself. Why don't I talk about the hard stuff, like the bad, the ugly, the hard stuff about Thredup, and the good stuff. Then I'm gonna answer questions and I'll share some what solds. This is gonna be a pretty comprehensive video, so hopefully you get a lot out of it. Okay, the good stuff is pretty obvious. The great thing about Thredup is I pack up a box. It's only a little bit of work, but I pack up a box, I send it to them. They're photographing it, they're steaming it if it needs to be steamed, they're putting it on their mannequin, making it look good and photographing it. They're listing it, they're dealing with any customer service, they're shipping it. If it gets returned, they're dealing with it. It is like if you're someone who's interested in a passive income, this might be great for you because it's pretty passive as far as reselling goes. Yes, there's some things you have to do that I'll talk about, but it's pretty simple. So I love taking all that stuff I don't feel like listing, putting it in a big box up to 30 pounds, shipping it off. They do the work. Boom, it's so easy that way. Like, that's what's amazing about Thredup. There's a lot of hard stuff about Thredup too. For me personally, maybe it'd be good for you, but here's my experience of what is challenging. You know, when you send them a box, sometimes it takes them a long time to process it, up to like 2-3 months. You don't know when they're gonna process it. The best advice I got from Rebecca the reseller, I'm not quoting, but like a general warning was, Thredup does whatever Thredup wants to do over there. So it's totally random. So you either can deal with it or you can't. So I've decided I'm gonna deal with it, but it is frustrating. It's like, you know, they do things all out of order. You don't know what the heck they're gonna do. It's hard to get in touch with them for customer service. For example, if you send them a box, here's a great example, friends. I told you I've sent 15 boxes now. The very first 2 boxes I ever sent them have never been processed, but they processed the box that I just sent them last week. There's no order to how they're processing my boxes. I'm tracking it, and it's like, they do it whenever they want to do it. So if you're someone who loves everything to be symmetrical, clear, in alignment, done as it's supposed to do, Thredup might drive you crazy. I'm just being honest. Like, I think in order to sell on Thredup and survive, you have to like be a little bit like, let it go. Thredup's gonna do what they want to do. Thredup is not there for resellers. In fact, I think they kind of deter the idea of resellers selling on the platform. They're not trying to make it super easy for us. Like, it's for people that want to consign their stuff. It's not for resellers. So it is a little bit like wonky. They do whatever they want over there. That's just the way it is. Another thing that's kind of hard is like, there's a lot of returns on Thredup. So I'll go on there and be like, oh, look, I sold like 6 things from my kit. And then I go on there the next week and it's like 3 of them were returned. There's just all sorts of stuff. You know, it's kind of hard to track and follow. There's definitely a learning curve, friends, on Thredup. So if you're going to do it, let yourself learn. Like, what brands sell well over there? What brands don't sell well over there? You know, there's a lot of trial and error over there, and there's a lot of learning that you have to do. So I'd say just like, let go, let yourself learn. Like, I send a lot of stuff in now, kind of trying it out, like experimenting, like, okay, how's this J. Jill size small top gonna do over there? You guys know I love selling mature women's brands like J. Jill, but of course, an extra large J. Jill shirt's gonna do awesome. A small is gonna sit for a while and probably not do that well. So I'm like, well, let me try selling it to Thredup. And then I get a payout of like $1.50, and I'm like, nope, I won't be selling and sending my J. Jill size small stuff over there. And it might be a different brand for you, and it might be different for you. If you got that J. Jill silk top for 50 cents, and then Thredup gave you a payout of a few bucks, you might be happy. You're tripling or quadrupling your money. That's why it might be a really good option for like bin sellers. The whole idea of labels is kind of hard. So a lot of people have said, you know, that they want to send boxes in, but they can't print labels, or they can't print anymore. And I don't know anything about that other than it's Thredup. It's like, I don't know. I've been able to print labels all along, but now they won't let me print any new labels until I send in all my kits and they've processed them or something. So right now I'm kind of in a holding pattern, and I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to it. Some people couldn't get labels for a long time, and now they can again. So I don't have answers there. I'm just gonna kind of roll with it and send in as many boxes as I can until they don't let me print any more labels. And I think I've got like 2 labels left, and I can't print any more as of now, but I'm hoping it'll change once they get all my boxes and they're processed. Another really frustrating thing for me on Thredup, and this is probably the hardest thing for me personally, is how they price things. So I send in my kit, they decide what they're gonna take and what they're not, and then they put my items up, and I'm like, oh, they look good. The picture's good, nice. And then they will have priced something extremely low, and my payout's going to be extremely low. And I'm like, oh no, like, so that just happens. And they have a weird pricing structure. Like a long sleeve shirt, they're gonna price more than a short sleeve shirt or a tank top. But sometimes they don't do it that way. Like, I do not see any rhyme or reason to the pricing over there, and that's a little frustrating. I don't have as much control as I would if I sold it myself. But I keep telling myself, well, you're not doing any work. So there is a window where when you send your kit in, they're gonna send you an email and say it's been processed, and you're gonna see their prices, and you can go in there and raise your prices. So you have some control over that. But you can only raise your prices to a certain threshold. If you raise it beyond their threshold, then you will have to pay $5.99 to Thredup if it doesn't sell and you want your item back. So I usually do not do that. I raise my prices, but I don't do it higher than their threshold. I'm not taking any risks on having to pay $5.99 to get my item back if it doesn't sell. That's been kind of the hardest thing for me as a reseller. Like, I sent them this beautiful silk dress by Cami, and they priced it at like 20 bucks. I could only raise it up to something like 26. It sold, my payout was like $2.30. That's painful. But in general, like the way it all shakes down, there's also a ton of stuff that they price way higher and it sells, and I'm like, wow, I got an awesome payout. So I try and work more like on averages and in general rather than sweat every single item.
You know what I'm saying? Okay.
So that's some of the good and some of the hard stuff. Now here's a lot of the questions you guys have asked me, and then feel free to leave any more questions in the comment section. I'll answer any questions that I get. Quemby, when you send in a box, do you pay $10.99 return assurance so that you can get the items back that they don't accept? Yes, 100%. Every single box I send in, I pay $10.99 for any items that they don't accept to sell on their site to send back to me. Because I want those items. I can sell them if I have to take them to Plato's Closet, if I have to sell them myself. To me, it's worth spending the $10.99 to get my items back. Now, my box rate, it's usually like they accept like 90% of things, which is very high for them. So I'm usually only getting like 1 to 3 or 4 items back. And it still costs me the $10.99, but I still want them back. Sometimes I realize, oh, they didn't accept this because I missed like a little spot, so I'll clean up the spot and send it back. So yes, I always do. Do I pay the expedited processing for $16.99? No, I don't. So on Thredup, if you don't want to wait like the 3-month waiting time for them to process a box, you can pay for expedited shipping at $16.99, and that means they'll process it. I think it's like in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I did do it on 2 of my boxes in the very beginning because I was so anxious to get started. Like I was all excited to do Thredup, and I'm like, oh, I know it's gonna take like 3 months for them to do my box. So I did it on a couple boxes and I regret it. Anyway, so I don't do that because like I said, they never processed my first 2 boxes that they got in the beginning of September, but the box I sent last week already been processed. And they're all out of order. I don't think the expedited means all that much. For me, it's not worth it. And that kind of goes on to the, how long does it take, Quemby, to process boxes? They're saying right now up to 4 months. And that changes. When I first started, they were saying 3-month wait time. Now they're saying 4-month wait time. But in my experience, they process things when they want to process them. I have boxes that have been sitting there for 2 months. I have boxes that didn't even sit there a week. I don't know how long it's going to take. Just assume it's going to take a very long time, and then you won't be disappointed. Okay, now this is kind of the big one. Do you track and keep track of the items you send? I do at this stage. I don't know if I always will, but I'm learning to see whether this is a viable business option for me. So yes, I bought the tracker from Rebecca the Reseller. I highly recommend it. She has a shop on Etsy. It's a Google Doc and it's set up perfect. And she's still selling the Google Doc even though the course is closed. So I make a packing list of everything I send, and then when it sells, I put in how much my payout was. I'm just tracking everything in the beginning. I highly recommend it. And here's why too, to answer one of the next questions, do you reclaim your items? Yes. So I send them a kit, they process it. Let's say 10 items in the kit sell and 5 don't. I want those items back. That's called reclaiming. So I do reclaim my items. And in order to know when to reclaim them, I'm using Rebecca's Google Doc that keeps track of all the dates for me so that I can reclaim them if they don't sell. I want those items back. I'll either sell them myself or I'll turn around and send them back into Thredup again. So I do reclaimings. So that is part of, like, you know how I said it's like it's not a lot of work? It's not. It's not a lot of work for the money I'm making, but there is some work. And that work is like putting the items in the box and creating a packing slip on Google Docs. So that takes me a little bit to write down everything I'm sending in. And then I put it all on the spreadsheet I got from Rebecca the Reseller. And then I track, like every day I kind of go on there and I just check. Is there anything that I need to reclaim from my kits because the time's running out? Do I want to write down anything that's sold? Yes, I do change prices when they list your kit, when they process it and list your stuff. you have like a 12-hour window. They'll send you an email where you can go in and change your prices. So I go in and change prices. And someone asked me if I'm doing partner kits. Partner kits I'm not doing right now. I might. That's when you send stuff in a partner kit. They buy it from you directly, usually for a lower amount, and you get a gift card. You can get a gift card to Reformation or Athleta or all sorts of cool places. And then you can either sell that gift card or you can use the gift card to buy more inventory or buy something for yourself. I haven't dabbled in that yet. I'm still trying to get a handle on the Thredup stuff. A couple other notes. I just want to say, even though I'm getting into the hard stuff, for me right now, it's totally worth it. We'll see how I feel a handful of months down the road, but I'm making good money and I'm doing very little work. So for me, that works. Let me just go through a few. Let me just give you a sense of some of the sales, of some of like the highs and the lows, because like I said, a lot of things I'm getting like $2 or $3 for, but a lot of things I'm doing pretty well on for doing no work myself. So let me just share a few of this. Like this is an amazing sale. I got this stuff in a Jomar wholesale box, and like this Foxy Doc's dress, I don't know what they sold it for, but my payout was $104. That's amazing. I forget what each one of those dresses cost in the box, but it was like less than $10. And I use a lot of my credit that I earn when you guys use my link on Jomar, which I love you for and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If when you're checking out you put The Grateful Queen, all one word, in the discount box, you get a discount and I earn credit. It's awesome. So that was an awesome sale, and I sold many of those Foxy Doxy dresses. This one sold and my payout was $38.88. There was another one I sold. I sold a few of them for $100, so that's awesome. Okay, but then let's look at some other things. Like, oh, this one I love. These were Lucky Brand boots. The reason I love this sale, my payout was $51.89 for not photographing it, not shipping it, letting them do the work. And I got these in a Thredup Rescue box. So I buy Thredup Rescue boxes from them to get inventory. They were in good shape. They just needed a quick cleanup. So I cleaned them up, sent them back in, and my payout was $51. I don't know that I would have made that much if I sold them myself. And then there's like some super fails, like this Chico's top I sent in to see how they do with a Chico's long sleeve shirt. My payout was $1.47. Not worth it. I could have made probably $15 myself, you know? This is a pair of J. Crew jeans that I made $10.46 as a payout. So some are, and like this was an Ann Taylor loft, size small. I'm not gonna get a loft for that. It's kind of plain, but my payout was $5.32 for not doing the work. I think that's pretty good. Let me see what else I got in here for you, just to give you like a sense. Like this is kind of a fail, I think. I sent them this Eloquy skirt. It was a formal skirt. It was skirt. It was a size 14, which they consider plus, but I don't. It was only $12.88. I would have made much more money if I sold that myself. But here's the thing. I don't want to sell everything by myself. It's a lot of time. It's time consuming. A lot of us are looking for ways to not have to sell everything ourselves. Some of us go to Plato's Closet or a store that's a buy-sell trade. Some of us do consignment. Some of us make mystery boxes. Many of us have a lot of stuff, more stuff to list than we can list. And I do because I do mystery boxes and I'm part-time. So for me right now, this is a really great solution. I appreciate you watching and I look forward to talking to you in the comments. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Love you guys. See you next time. Bye. Okay, this is my favorite part, trying to set up the camera. I feel like it's a little bit high. I wish I could just leave this in one spot and never have to change it. Is that good? Sometimes I'm like, am I high? Am I low? Am I close? Am I far away? We'll just go with it. I don't know exactly. I have notes. I don't know how I'm going to organize this whole thing. Now I need water. Soft surroundings. Sometimes I list soft surroundings myself, so that's kind of a tricky one. I think I'll leave that one out for now. I'm also sending them a lot of my small sizes, things that are small and extra small. Historically, you resellers know, sometimes can be harder to sell. Ta-da! Why am I saying ta-da today? Like, I don't think I've ever said ta-da in a video, and now I've said it twice. I must just be in a ta-da type of mood. So long pause. Wow, I'm super jazzed up in this video, and I have not had any coffee. I'm just excited about the whole Thredup discussion. I'm doing like 2 weeks without coffee. It stinks. Wow, this video is going to be long because I haven't even done like what solds yet. Oh well. This is like a lot packed in here. I need more water too. I'll press stop and then I'll come back.